Today on Book Break, we are wrapping up what has been a wonderful Pride Month, and to celebrate, we've invited some of our favourite booktubers right here to Gaze the Word to talk about our favourite LGBTQIA+ books. Gaze the Word is the only specifically LGBT bookshop in the UK, so it is the perfect location for our Pride celebrations. We're going to be chatting all evening about our favourite LGBTQIA+ books, but first I wanted to share just a few that I think are must-reads. One of my favourites is Trumpet by Jackie Kay, which is about a famous jazz musician who is revealed after his death to be transgender, a secret that even his son didn't know. It's a novel about love that transcends gender, as well as about living publicly versus privately. I think it's just gorgeous. For the non-fiction fans, How to Survive a Plague by David France tells the story of the AIDS crisis and the activists who helped turn HIV from a deadly infection to a manageable disease. Or, if you want to expand your Macmillan collector's library with some queer classics, Orlando by Virginia Woolf is a great place to start. This feminist novel challenges assumptions about gender and sexuality and was inspired by the life of Virginia Woolf's lover, Vita Sackville West. But now, let's hear from the booktubers.
LGBT plus books I love. There's so many, but not enough at the same time.
So I think LGBT representation in books is really important because for me growing up, I would have absolutely loved to have read these books and known that it was absolutely okay to be who you are and love who you love.
Oranges Are Not the Only Fruit by Jeanette Winterson saved a part of my 16-year-old self.
The book I'm going to recommend is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. It has one of the strongest narrative voices I've heard in a while. It's just this really sweet, beautiful relationship between these two boys. I absolutely cannot recommend it enough, and neither can all of these people that apparently have given it awards.
I think representation is important because it shows that there's more than just one type of person in the world.
For non-fiction, it has to be Audre Lorde, who has an essay collection called Sister Outsider, and she was a black lesbian feminist poet, and her essays are amazing.
I also recommend reading anything by Ali Smith, but I do think that her short stories are particularly underrated and you should pick those up. This is an example of one of those. Go and get it.
I got this book for Christmas last year, 50 Queers Who Changed the World, and absolutely loved it because I found out about so many interesting people who I'd known nothing about previously.
It took me a long time to really gauge who I was. If I could have read things that I've been writing, I would feel a lot more normal.
The book that I would like to recommend to you guys is None of the Above by I.W. Gregorio. Basically the main character in this is called Kristen, and she finds out that she is intersex. Everyone finds out and then she gets bullied and stuff, so like she has to deal with all of this when like she's only finding out herself. It's such an amazing book and I would highly, highly, highly recommend this book to anyone.
My favourite book that I've read recently would be Ruby Fruit Jungle. I feel like it really relates to what I felt at that age as well.
I think it kind of reminds you of like when you were a teenager and feeling these things about, for me, women.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, oh my god, I was gay for a really long time.
Percy Logan's A Portable Shelter is fantastic. It's about two women who are expecting a child together and they're telling the child stories. They vowed not to do this. So the pregnant woman tells stories while her partner is at work, and the other woman tells the baby stories when her partner is asleep. And they're filled with fairy tale and whimsy. Quite dark as well, which is my favourite kind.
And the second book I want to talk about is Lumberjanes, which is one of my all-time favourite graphic novel series. They're at camp and they're magical. They work together and each of them have great like quirks and differences, and it's about like learning to work together as a team. Definitely recommend.
My favourite book, Women by Chloe Caldwell. Yeah. But it was just so good. So it's about this woman who was having an affair with a lesbian who was like 20 years older than her, and it just reminds me of all of the people that I've kind of been out with that have just messed you around. I'm worth more than this.
Don't Call Us Dead by Dana Smith is a poetry collection which explores what it means to be queer and black in America today.
I'm going to talk about this, which is Just Out of Hormones by Matt Cayley. There's loads of books actually that I love, LGBT books, but this one I decided to talk about because this is the one that helped me to come out as transgender, and it was just a complete revelation that there is more than one way to be transgender and there's more than one path.
Everything Leads to You by Nina LaCour. This is a summery contemporary romance, which is my favorite genre. The main character, she is a lesbian. It's also a set dresser for Hollywood movies. This was the first book I ever read about a female romance. It just like really meant something to me.
The book that I've chosen is We Are Okay by Nina LaCour. So this is about Marin, who has just moved to college across the country, and she's staying at school over the winter break because she has nothing really to go back to, and there's kind of a mystery surrounding that, and it's about her best friend Mabel, who they were kind of something more than friends when they were back in California. Yeah, it's just as beautiful as the cover is.
My favourite LGBT book is not otherwise specified because it's not just about this character being LGBT. It's about how she is a black woman, really struggling with her friendship group, learning to accept herself for who she is, and that she doesn't have to be these things that people are telling her to be. And I wish I'd found this book when I was a lot younger. I like her a lot.
Hey everyone, we're Maddie and V, and these are two of our favourite LGBT reads. The first is Out of the Blue by Sophie Cameron. This is the story of Jaya, whose father is an angel hunter and he's been searching for one since her mother's death. Then one falls in her lap and she makes friends with a group of other kids that want to keep the angel safe. Next we have Skylarks by Karen Gregory. This is about Joni and Annabelle, who are from two completely different financial backgrounds. Joni's family is under the threat of eviction and the pair meet while both working at their local library. They get talking about their different lifestyles whilst also falling in love.
I identify as bisexual. Hadn't really seen many women-women relationships in writing or in anything that was directed to me at that time, and Sputnik Sweetheart was probably the first time that I saw that in writing. But when I picked it up and read it and found that recognition, it just meant so much to me.
Most of the bisexual novels and books and fiction and whatnot are usually based around female characters, so it's quite hard to find a male character. However, there's one book that I found which really kind of speaks to me. It's called Being Here All Along by Sandy Hull. It's a lot about falling in love with your best friend. I kind of was like, yeah, definitely did that. Yeah, did that a few times.
I think that's what literature sort of does, is being a good example of this is how I feel.
Books are so important for us because that's where we can find ourselves. I mean, especially for me, growing up in the early 80s, there wasn't the knowledge around, so to be able to read people's stories in books, I think it's absolutely vital.
So I think the representation is important from like two different angles. One side is, you know, so the straights and the cis people can know that we are people. But I also think it's important for like LGBTQ+ youth to see themselves, really feel seen, to feel validated. I think that's like absolutely invaluable.
Why should I have to read about people whose lives are nothing like my lives? It makes me think that they're the only types of lives that are acceptable when humanity is diverse, so the characters we read about in books should be diverse as well.
You kind of believe that everyone around you is the same and you're the one who's different, but when you read a book you get an insight of how you're not alone.
You are not alone ever.
Books are great.
Do leave us a comment with your favourite LGBTQIA+ book, and of course subscribe to this channel for new Book Break videos every week. Next week on Book Break, we're going to be talking all about the fascinating new YA release Flawed, so do subscribe so you don't miss out on that one. See you next time!